Welcome, ברוכים הבאים. Welcome to Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulay, your host, a spiritual mentor, sound therapist for you who are ready to look at your gifts, to remember them, and to get them out of the world. Map your experience, and all from a place of love and acceptance. הריני מקבל על עצמי את מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I hereby accept on myself the due commandment, the utterance of love your neighbor, your friend, your partner, your gardener, in the same way that you express love to yourself. And the focus is first on yourself. How do we talk to ourselves? How do we relate to ourselves? And the best way that we can, and every day is a new day, every day is a new bridge, to cross for the next place to be in, so we can be for others, so we can be for the other person. Thank you for being here today. It is Sunday. It is November 8th, 21st of the month of Cheshvan, and this is. There's been a lot of going on, and thank you for being here. I'm still here navigating the wonder of technology, right? The wonder of technology. And so we have wonder in everything, and this is really what I want to share with you today, is coming about everything that transpired this week and is still transpiring. And it's really about the wonder for the sake of the chesed, for the sake of the kindness. And a lot of things going on this week, the elections and passing of some important, everybody's important, right? But people that make difference in our lives, tend to get more attention from us, because we relate to them, I relate to them more on a personal level. Also, if it is somebody who is a public figure, and is not personally related to me or related to us, they have an effect. They have an effect on us. They affect us. And so yesterday was another loss to humanity, because it was the passing of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs. And so I want to dedicate this, anything that we talk about, anything that, well, I guess I talk about, unless you comment here and you join here on the Facebook and on LA Talk Radio page, that I will see that and I can respond. But to dedicate this hour, to dedicate this 15 minutes to two people that, while they are worlds apart, we're all in the same world, but they have both affected me. One of them is my father, who passed away this week a year ago, and so Rabbi Shalom Ben Rachel Azoulay, and yesterday, kind of on the same weekend, the same timeline, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and so I want to in their memory to dedicate this. So it's a little bit. I'm in a little bit fluid state that causes me sometimes to be in a rigid place. So thank you for being here. So Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, a former chief rabbi of the United Kingdom, passed away yesterday, Saturday morning, on the 20th day of the month of Cheshvan, and he was a great source of light. He always preached and always taught for kindness, and beware of the negativity that starts from our thoughts, starts from those places that sometimes you get up in the morning and things are not straight. We get up in the morning with a clean slate, and we choose actually how to map this slate. And many times, if things are not resolved, or if things are not resolved, not necessarily with outside, but inside especially, then we can get up with that dent in the car still within us, and that can affect the day. So he preached for kindness, and really, yesterday was a big day because there was the end of the elections. There was declarations of the winner of the elections, and then he talked. He gave a lesson. Rabbi Sachs gave a lesson yesterday, 4 years ago, at the elections, past the elections of 2016, and on the same week, and the same between 2 days apart of passing of the great Leonard Cohen. And he was talking about. He gave a class. About what was going on then, which is very much what was going on now. And he brought example the song of Leonard Cohen, "You Want It Darker," and I want to read these few lines that he was talking about, and it also refers to the same parsha portion of the week, Vayera, which is also what we're going to talk about this morning. What I want to share with you this morning. If you are the dealer, I'm out of the game. If you are the healer, it means that I'm broken and lame. If thine is the glory, then mine must be the shame. You want it darker, we kill the flame. And this really stuck with me as he was teaching that. And this refers to Parashat Vayera, to this portion of the week. And this portion of the week really was continuation from last week. Starts with the word Vayera, and God revealed himself to Abraham. But the word that is used in this context is Vayera. Vayera is not leheraot, not to be seen, not to be revealed, but to be revealed from a place of awe. And there are in the word Vayera from the word Yirah has two ways to look at that. You can look at somebody, or let's say in this case as we're looking at the divine from a place of fear. Sometimes somebody will do something because of the place of fear, of not getting punished, or not getting reprimanded, or not getting because of the fear or the shame, right? The shame is the lowest frequency in the table or the chart of frequencies. It is amazing. It divides. It goes from bottom to up. The shame is the lowest of the frequencies. So there is a way to look at honest from a place of fear, of not being reprimanded, of not being shamed, of not being, if in a society there is a societal structure, societal pressure. And then there is the honest coming from a place of wanting to do what we're doing because we really feel it inside of us, because we're really connected to that, because we're really authentically jiving with it. We're authentically in this place. And so coming from that place is where Abraham saw the honest. And it is interesting. Abraham is considered the best host, because he practiced chesed. Chesed is kindness in English, kindness, grace. And chesed is actually attributed to the masculine. If you look at the tree of life in Kabbalah, chesed is attributed to the masculine, it's on the right side, and gevura, dinim, which is strength, judgments, is attributed to the feminine. So it's interesting because each one brings, somebody may think naturally that, oh, well, chesed, kindness, because it's a mother, so it goes to the mom. But it's actually the other way around. And this is the complementary relationship between the masculine and the feminine. There's so much to talk about this complementary relationship, where this chesed, where this kindness is more is can and has the potential to be expressed more and in a greater sense, is actually from the masculine. So Abram was the place of chesed, the place of he expressed chesed by the hosting, by hosting people. He was a tent person, somebody who had a tent, and his tent was open in all directions. So if somebody comes along, they don't have to do the circle around to go even to the entrance of the tent. Everything was open, everything was revealed. And so the person who is coming doesn't have even to do the extra effort of going around and entering the tent. They can go from either direction. And he was sitting there at the heat of the day. Last portion, he was going through his circumcision. So the person is not at 99. He wasn't very up to par, so to speak, physically. But nevertheless, he sat there and he did that. And he was waiting, and he received the revelation of the three angels that came and gave him different messages, each one of them. So, wonder. Last week I was talking about wonder as a child. And it continues all the time to be the same thing. Wondering as a child, being in a place of childlike, of wonder. When a child goes goes down the street, goes down to play, he doesn't think about, oh, is my shoe going to be dirty from the mud? But many times there is the fear. I remember, at least in my case, there's the fear of what happened when I get home. It's like, parents or society, or what they're going to say, right? The child walks into a puddle, it doesn't work. You're just going to enjoy it. It's pure enjoyment. And this is where also the joy relies. And why is that? Is because there is no the attachment. There is no the attachment. There are no the structures that exist within adults, because we are growing into society. We're taught how to think, if to think. We're taught how to think, what direction to take, what we're encouraged by, what we're not encouraged by, who encourages us, who sees our gifts. In some countries, people are being taught to be critical thinkers. Unfortunately, in this country, I didn't see it very much, unless you really dive deep. But today is really because of technology and because of the way of the world to dominate and to control our consciousness. And this is really what it's all about. All this hoopla and hapla about the virus and the 5G and the election. Everything is about control. That is why there are there are a lot of things that are happening the way that they are happening. It is about controlling. So the war, what we are here to stand for and with, is to protect, first of all, to protect our consciousness from infiltration of the outside. And so as a child, it doesn't exist. A child doesn't exist, and that's why children, in many ways, are like clay. Children are like clay. They will adjust wherever they're being put. There will be a difficult time because they're used to maybe one thing or the other thing, but they'll adjust. It is but with children there is wonder. There is no the attachment to something that was dictated, to something that was given and laid down. And so there is this wonder, this place of looking at things around us and how do we relate to that. So when there is wonder, there is no definite thing. There is no definite outcome, in a sense, that we can see at least. There is no definite outcome that we can see at least. So there is opportunity. There are opportunities that exist They always exist. The opportunity are being revealed when we are in wonder, when we are looking at things without any preconceived notions as much as possible, because we have our mind, we have our thoughts, we have our share of what's going to happen. Oops, move the table. So there is this wonder, and when we enter this place of wonder, you start feeling this expansion in the body, because the wonder state is coming from the inside. The detachment, or the learning how to detach, or learning how not to be attached to begin with, is releasing, is freedom, is giving a place to rise, is giving a place for wonder to rise up. And all these attachments that we have are creating a lot of the things that we are dealing with today. Whether it is jealousy, whether it is biased opinion, whether it is judgment, and this all comes from judgment. L'chaim. So it all comes from judgment. And the place of judgment takes us to all different places. And so this place of wonder is releasing, is really a release. And there are different ways how we can get there, how we can get to this place of wonder. What is hindering from wonder to be manifested or to be existing? So the first thing that I find for me to do is always a gratitude, is a place of gratitude. And sometimes it is hard when we are in a certain situation, and when I'm in this situation, or it is hard to see beyond. But it is the recognition that I'm in this place that brings this place of gratitude. This place of gratitude starting to release these attachments, starting to release these places that we are married to, so to speak, married to a certain idea, married to a certain way of thinking. So the gratitude, the first thing in the morning, the modeh ani, the minute opening my eyes, just those places of starting the day, starting that clean slate. And really it is, and then when we walk into the world, and we see things that are jarring, is very easy to be taken by, is that place of wonder, that the place of gratitude that will start releasing these places of attachment. And these times, I really want to encourage, and I keep encouraging every time that I come online, and coming online is getting easier and easier, because there is connection. Is coming to a place of saying, to think about everything that we see, especially online. Once it was TV. Remember when TV started, and earlier years, and 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, the TV was a place, was a device to release information, to bring information, and because it was so new, everything was believable. Everything was had the credibility because it was on TV, and they believed it because I saw it on TV. Well, now the internet is the TV of then. It is the same thing. It is, what do we believe? What do we take for granted? That is also some kind of an attachment. Looking at something and saying, oh yeah, this is what it is. Oh, I got to go tell everybody because that's what it is. Because where? Because I saw it on the internet. Well, there's so much going on. I mean, you look everywhere. There's so much going on, so many lies, so many things. Why? Because the war is on our consciousness. We sit here now, we are in some places more than the other, in closure and sitting inside, and we've been like this for a year. And we're being fed what? We're being fed what is on the screen. If we allow ourselves to be in that place, we're allowing these things to feed us. And we have the choice of how to look at what we're looking at, how to believe what we're believing in. To look at these things and to question, and not to take things for granted just because they were on the internet. The internet is a great tool, but to be bluntly going after that, or what people say and how people say, and to be attached to the responses, because the attachment is not to the people. The attachment is not to necessarily, not to the devices themselves, although that's a whole different addiction thing. But the attachment is to the way that we respond. The way that we respond is an attachment. Why? Because it's an attachment to a pattern that we're familiar with. We're attachment to a pattern that we're familiar with. And the pattern that we are familiar with gets us to the place that we're at. So it is not an automatic response that has to be there. It's the attachment to our responses. And this is what I say, it is how do we look at how we respond. And the place that we inhabit in that time, at that time, it will dictate how we respond. And so it is all tied together. It is all tied together. The wonder, how do we respond? Who do we respond to? What that person is representing for us, to us. So in Parashat Vayera, back to Parashat Vayera, to this talk about this portion of the week, there are many stories. This is like one of the most packed. This is one of the most packed portion of the Torah, where it has the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. It has the letting go or releasing, if we use a nice word, of Hagar, the mistress that was there for Abram. The sacrifice of Isaac, right? Well, almost the sacrifice. I mean, there was going a lot of things there. But during this act, actually, there were a lot of things that we can learn as parents. We can learn as parents in relation to our children. So we're talking about how can children be in a wondrous place. This is teaching a lot about how to be in wonder, how to allow for a space of wonder to come about. And so before that, I want to play a song by a composer who also passed away. I don't know, it's like a weekend of people that have passed away. Meir Banai. And it's called To You, My God, Lecha Eli. So I want to play this, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the places that we can, allowing the children to be in a place of wonder.
אלי תשוקתי בך חשקי באהבתי לך ליבי וכליותיי לך רוחי ונשמעתי לך ידיי לך רגליי וממחי תכונתי לך עצמי לך דמי ואורי עם גווייתי בצורתי ותבניתי, לך רוחי, לך כוחי, ומבטחי ותקוותי. לך האמת ולא אדמת, עדי תאיר את אפלתי, לך אזעק, לך אדבק, עדי שובי לאדמתי. לך מלכות, לך גאות, לך תאות תהילתי, לך עזרה בעת צרה, אהיה עזרי בצרתי. ומה כוחי ועוצמתי, תקש נידף מאוד נדף, ואיך תזכור משוגעתי. ואורגנוז לפניך, יהי סתרי וסוכתי, ותחת צל כנפך תנענע את מחיצתי.
Yes. So, let's see. So this was Meir Banai, and I want to thank also Ronen for sending me this clip, and I won't play that. We also had another passing of Natan Zach, who was also a great poet, and he won Chatan Pras Israel, and which is like the Emmy of the States for poets and writers, and he wrote one of the great songs that the great Mati Kaspi, the great composer, composed and wrote, and it's so fitting right now for the place of wonder, for the place of one person to see our gifts. איך זה שכוכב, how does a lonely star dares? How does a lonely star dares to show itself? I'm loosely translating it here. How does a lonely star dares to show itself and to brighten itself for the world? And the thing is that we're not alone. We're not alone. And when we're not alone, when we're united and when we come together, that gives us the power to shine our light, to shine our place of truth, to come to a place of gratitude, to come to a place of shining, of kindness, of love, of accepting, regardless if you're left, right, up, down, backwards, whatever that is. Because we are stars. Each one of us is a star. Each one of us is a bright star. And from the chaos, the star will rise. And so I want to share with you this other clip. It's so appropriate for now. So I'm going to bring this thing up as well. איך זה שכוכב אחד מעז? So let's see. This is from an old program. Mati Kaspi is the composer. איך זה שכוכב אחד.
כוכב אחד מעז, אל תיקח את זה אישי. אני מזמין את הדודאים, את הפרברים, אורה זיטנר, חנן יובל, מתי כספי. זהו, אין יותר. איך זה שכוכב אחד מעז?
שכוכב אחד לבד מעז, איך הוא מעז למען השם. כוכב אחד לבד, אני לא הייתי מעז, ואני בעצם לא לבד. למען אשב לה 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 לה
תודה.
איך זה שכוכב, how does a star dares? How does a star dares, for God's sake? How does a star dares? And each one of the people that I mentioned, Rabbi Sachs, my father, Natan Zach, us that we're still here, each one of us is a star. Each one of us is a light, is a candle. And when we come together, and when we come together in unity, we are this massive, massive amount of light. So the piano there was the maestro Mati Caspi, and who wrote thousands, hundreds of songs, over 1,000 songs, and many beautiful songs. And there were other people there that were standing there that are also not with us anymore, great musicians. And so I want to bring back to this place of wonder, to this place of how can a star shine. You know, Nietzsche said once that the star, out of the chaos, the bright star, the shining star will rise, along these lines. And how can we rise? You know, we're looking at the environment, we're looking at where we grow up, right? We're talking about where we come from, our family, our familial connections, where we come from. And so, like a tree, right? If I don't have, if I try to water a tree with Coca-Cola, it's like, have you seen the movie Idiocracy? It's the same thing. Can't. And so us as parents, we are the nurturing ground. We are this place that can allow and allows nurturing to happen. So back in history, up until the Roman times, around that time, in ancient times as we call it, children were really property of their parents. You know, unfortunately, we see it still happening today. It was still common in at least place where I come from. You know, a parent would say something, this is what has to happen. Not everybody, but there are a lot of places like that. And a word of a parent has a stronghold, was there. You know, but legally, at least until that time, children didn't have any legal status. They were really the property of the parents. Especially if you're a girl at that time, because of the patriarchy that was so dominant, it was so, still today is, but today, thank God, things are shifting. Things are shifting for the better. Right? It's going to be always for the better. You know, sometimes it has to get worse in order for it to get better, but overall it's going up. Thank God, and hopefully. So up until that time, children did not have really a say. So what happens here in Torah, right? Abraham is 99, is being told, delivered the message that he's going to have a baby at 99. He raises the baby, he loves him so much, and then God tells him, go sacrifice him to prove that you love me, or to prove that I am. So Abraham, without questions, goes. So, I mean, somebody can get really, aside from the trauma of losing your child, but the trauma of being said, okay, do this now, don't do this now, do this then, don't do this. There is a great, this is where the Torah said, actually, your kid is not yours. Your kid is not yours. Your child is not yours. And this is one of the great teaching that I've learned from Rabbi Sachs. The children are not ours. They are their own light, or their own. They're a deposit that we get. We get them as a deposit. And when I work with women that are going through divorce or separation or couples, and to see how children are being used, sometimes unconsciously, used as a buffer between the parents. So if for example, one side is not following a part that has to do with the agreement between the two persons, the two parents, one of the parents is alienating the child or alienating the children or causing a lot of traumatic, and many times it's knowingly. And many times it's being done knowingly to get back at that other person. So if somebody is, there is here a taking the child and using them as a tool, or dictating for the child, or punishing the child, or telling the child, you cannot do that. We are here to be the guardians. We are here to be advocates for our children. We are here to be advocates for wonder. Let us be advocates for wonder, because wonder comes from a place of authenticity. And when we're a place of authenticity, we're coming from gratitude. And when we're in gratitude, we look at somebody else and we say, hey, I see you. Yeah, maybe you and I don't see eye to eye, but we still can have coffee. We still can talk about things. Especially in the community, especially in every city, especially now, especially during these times. This is when we need one another. All that is happening with all this election rubbish thing, that it is really a sold game from A to Z, doesn't matter what side you are. It is this time that we are to be connected. It is this time that we are to look at somebody and not to... Exactly, Coco agrees with me. There's my dog. So she agrees with that. You know, it's interesting. We get signs. I was just talking this week. We get signs that validate what we say through means that we can understand in this dimension. Pay attention. Pay attention. Do this exercise. Do this exercise. Think something. Talk about something. Talk with somebody about something, and see what messages you're getting. You can get in a matter of a text. You can get in a matter of I don't believe in coincidence. Everything is a plan. Everything has a direction. Everything, yes, we have the choice of which direction to take, but the direction is there. The outcome of a certain direction is there. If I make a right turn, I will get to Afula, to whatever town. I get to somewhere, because that direction will lead there. I can deviate, I can go, but eventually this direction will lead to that place. It's like a maze. We have 4 entrances to a maze to get somewhere, to get to that point at the end of the maze. Each one will take us somewhere. We are at the beginning. We have the choice. What choice am I going to make that will take me where I'm going to go? I don't know where I'm going to go, but that's the wonder. That's the wonder. How many times do you play a game, whether you play board game, whether you play whatever, and you're just, oh, let me try this. Oh, let me try that. It's that same kind of thing. You know, Monopoly, the game Monopoly, was I heard, I didn't read it, but I heard that it was created to see how we treat one another, how we relate to one another in real life. And notice, when you play Monopoly, first of all, there is no day or night. But when you play Monopoly, also if you're sitting in front of your partner, your lover, your brother, your son, your kid, you want to get them into jail. You want to have them pay everything. You want them to pay through their nose, through everything, right? And how many times do we are like that in real life? How many times we are in real life we're talking like this to somebody else? How many times we treat somebody like an enemy just because they don't see eye to eye? Just because they don't see eye to eye. And I get many, for example, Facebook requests and deletions that I'm being deleted because I bring something up that they don't like to hear. And especially it was during this election time where I would ask, like I mentioned in the beginning of the program, where do you hear this from? Things are out of context. Here is the real source, and was deleted. It's the same thing. I'm getting Facebook requests for people that don't see eye to eye with me, and I know that they don't see eye to eye with me, but they see eye to eye with me on one thing. That's enough. Because this is a place of connection. It's like two circles. We connect. The Venn diagram, the 2 circles. We connect. We enter each one's story in different times. And there is never a good place or a bad place to enter a story. So when we enter a story, we interact with somebody, we meet through certain places. What you want to tell me that when you meet somebody new, you agree right away on all the things? Or you see eye to eye on all the things? No. They have their story. I have my story. But we do have a connection point. That's why we also have met. So we're going to discover that connection point and see what can happen from there. It's like a crack on the windshield. You know how the crack on the windshield starts? It starts from a very little connection point. Drive on the highway, a little pebble, a little stone, a little pebble runs on the windshield, has a little crack. I say, I'll take care of it tomorrow. The wind, the movement of the car, all these kind of things creates this crack to have like spider webs, spider cracks. Spider cracks that opens up and open up and open up. So this is how we meet. Our connection to one another is like that dot on a windshield that starts from a small dot. Now we can connect, we can expand. And by the way, I proved that person because it is that one place that we can connect to somebody. And when we find that place, we find that wonder place. Because now it's like, what's going to happen? I don't know. Let's discover. Let's play. Let's discover. So I really, so I wish and I hope for us, for everyone, if you are here, that means that you have to be here. And your English is perfect, by the way. You know who I'm talking about. You can understand what I'm saying. If we are here, let's go to a place of wonder. Let's be in a place of wonder. Let's keep this light shining, this candle. We are before the holiday of Hanukkah, where the light, the small flame, evaporates this vastness of darkness. Let's be in a place of wonder. Thank you for being here. Toda Abba. Thank you, Rabbi Sachs, for the teachings. Thank you, Leonard Cohen, for the song. Thank you, Natan Zach, for the words. Thank you for all of you who are still places of light. And my name is iLan. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. And yalla, let's go have coffee. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Abracadabra, Create What You Speak, with iLan Azoulay, only on LA Talk Radio.